July 1st, 2024 study session of Livonia City Council. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Honorable Councilman Rob Donovic.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Donovic.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. This meeting sets the agenda for the 1997th regular meeting, which is a voting meeting that will take place on Monday, July 15th. Wow, where's the time going? Where tonight's meeting items will be officially voted on. We are actually, all 7 council members are here. I'm going to move on to audience communication for items that are not on the agenda. The council set aside 30 minutes. If you'd like to speak on any items not on the agenda, please make your way to the podium. Seeing none, we're going to move on to council announcements. Council, do we have anything? I have one because I messed up. I'm wishing a belated birthday to the craziest 10-year-old in the world, Harper McCullough. She is probably actually watching because she wanted to join, and I said, hey, don't jinx it. I want to see how fast this meeting can go. But no, she's the spunky kid, and she celebrated her 10th birthday a couple weeks ago, and so we love you, Harps. Happy birthday. No more communication from council. We're going to jump right into the study agenda with item number 1 under new business is a block party request. This comes to us from Allison Adams to be held on Saturday, July 20th, 2024 from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Flamingo Boulevard between Clarita and Pickford with a rain date of Saturday, July 27th, 2024. Allison, are you in the house?
I'm here for her.
Perfect. If you could make your way, we have at least 62 questions we want to ask you. I'm messing. Maybe just tell us a little bit about, I think you've been doing these, right?
Oh, yeah. So I've
Yes.
been helping her for the past couple of years now, and everyone loves it. We were first doing it for just our block, and we're like, you know what, why not just get to know all the neighbors? And so we were doing like the block before us, the block around us, and then the sides, and we have a small little committee, and we all just send the flyers out. And last year was the biggest, and everyone's like, thank you so much for inviting us, this is fantastic, and it's just having a good time. So
That's awesome.
it's
Council?
nice.
Mr. President, I'll offer an approving for consent. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Make it bigger and bigger. Keep going, and then you can
We
take over
definitely
a
will.
whole part of the city.
You could compete with the spree.
I don't know. I'm with the 48,000.
Yeah, 9,600 beers.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's the effects of post-COVID. So your item is all but assured to be approved. If you need anything from us, please let us know, and hopefully we'll see you next year for the same request.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anything from the audience on Miss Adams' block party? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to item number 2, which is a block party request. This comes to us from Alex Quint to be held on Saturday, August 24th, 2024, from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Fairway Street between Plymouth and Orange Lawn. Alex, good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Tell us about the party.
It's Fairfield, first of all, just to set the record straight. It's our second annual block party, so my wife and I and some of our neighbors are kind of hitting off. We're not quite as ambitious as the other one, inviting those streets around us, but we're working there. So we've got, I don't know what all you need to know, but we've got a friend who, his church has a bounce house that they're going to have. We have a friend of ours has like a shaved ice truck, and so we're going to have yard games, probably just do like subs. I don't know, just kind of have a good time getting to know some of our neighbors a little bit better. So
Awesome. Council?
Mr. President,
Vice President?
I'd be happy to offer an approval on consent. That sounds like a great time. Congrats.
Cool. And again, we'll see you hopefully bigger and better next year. But thanks for joining
Hopefully.
us today. Your items
Yeah,
on
sure.
consent, it's all but assured to be approved. But if you want to hang out with us on July 15th, feel free. We're here.
right on.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Do we have any audience communication on Mr. Alex's block party? Seeing none, we're going to move on to item number 3, which is a block party request from Margaret McGrain to be held on Saturday, August 24th from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Rayburn Street between William Street and Levan. Sounds like August 24th is going to be a party around the city.
Hopefully.
Good
Yeah.
evening. Tell us a little about it.
Same thing. Barbecue, bounce house, kid games, yard games. Good time.
Well, hopefully you didn't double book the shaved ice truck.
Tragedy. Tragedy.
Council,
I'll offer approving on consent.
you have an approving on consent. Like I said, everything's approved, most likely to be approved. Again, if you need anything from us, let us know, but we'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any audience communications on item number 3? Seeing none, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is a request to amend the professional engineering contract through the qualification-based selection, QBS process with OHM advisors and authorize an expenditure. This comes to us from the Department of Public Works for the hydro excavation of water service lines from budgeted funds. Good evening. How are you?
So good. How about you?
Good.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ryan Farrell. I've been with the department for about 2 years. Before that, I was with Dearborn for 15. So bear with me, my first time
Oh, you have fun with it.
presenting to council. So I'm here to talk about the Drinking Water Asset Management Program, DWAM, DWAM. This stems from the revised lead and copper rule of 2018, which led from the drinking water crisis in Flint, which a lot of us know all about that. One part of this rule is all water supply owners must complete a distribution system material inventory by October of 2024. The purpose of this inventory is to identify and document distribution system materials, including service line materials on both public and private sides of the property. This is a 3-point physical inspection on both sides of the shutoff valve, 18 inches of either side, and then a 1-point inspection inside the home. The state of Livonia is required to do 381. Let me back up a little bit. So we received grant funding from EGLE in 2020 for $425,900. In order to do this work, we were required to do 381 homes. We completed our requirement, and out of that requirement, we only found 4 lead. With the remaining funds, we're going to continue this program to go to phase 2 to use the remaining funds on approximately 140 more homes. Also, in effect to that program, we have our own internal program. To date, since 2018, we have inspected 15,000 homes. 129 homes have been identified with lead lines. Of those, we've changed out 65. In summary, we're working on this program to get a better idea of our water service materials in the system to help build and create our program. We are asking the council to approve the department to work with OHM advisors in the amount not to exceed $70,450 from water and sewer budget funds, which will be reimbursed through the grant process. OHM will assist in scheduling and performing interior inspections, continuing the oversight of the exterior inspections, storing all of our gathered information on the GIS data board, and prepare all of our final reports for EGLE. We can approximately do 140 homes, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I got Vice President. I'll now go to Councilman Toy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kudos, Mr. Farrell, on your first
Thank
time
you.
presenting. Nicely done.
Thank you.
This is basically a housekeeping issue here. It's an amendment to an existing QBS with OHM, and I think we know that it needs to be done, so I'll be happy to offer an approving on consent.
Thank you.
Anything further from Council? Councilman Toy?
Thank you. If I may, to this gentleman, Ryan, from Dearborn, or was Dearborn. Just joking with you. What I wanted to ask you is, how long does this program last?
So this grant funding has to be used by October 16th, or it's no longer in void.
Of this year?
Correct.
Yeah.
So partnering with OHM, we feel confident we'll get it all completed.
How much money was it initially again?
$425,000.
And we'll spend all of that, you think, pretty much?
Yep, we will spend all of it.
Okay. All righty. Appreciate it.
Yep,
Thank you
you're
for the info. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for being here this evening, Mr. Farrell, and of course to OHM. Nice to see OHM working with us on this. They do a really great job, and we're lucky to work with OHM on a lot of these projects, and it's nice to see that we continue to replace some of these lead-based lines. You said there's roughly 129 homes that you guys have identified this year?
No, so that's in total since 2018.
It's a total, okay.
So when the rule came in place in 2018, the department started housing things in our CityWorks database. We take photos of everything, and we document it. We keep it in file. So that we also change them out or look at them when we do water main replacement programs. We change out roughly 10 miles a year. So far this year, we found 4 during that project.
And how many homes will you inspect this year then under this program?
This program here is for 140 homes.
How many do you think of those 140 will have lead-based lines?
It's hard to tell. We're identifying a neighborhood where it's older homes, section 1. So we're hoping we're going to find more and just get them on our list and knock them out.
And then you will handle all the restoration work this year as well, or will that be next year?
So the restoration work through this project will be done this year.
Awesome, great. Trying to think of any other tough questions. I think
Fire
that's
away.
it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Budzinski.
So to just follow up on that, in your summary, you mentioned 125 homes that had found to have lead or copper, and 65 were upgraded. Is it the rest are on a list, or?
They're on a list.
Okay.
So we're also required to sample 30 lead lines a year through Eagle for lead and copper sampling results. So we have that list continued as well. Believe it or not, it would be harder. It's harder to change out lines than you would think. Some people just don't want you in your homes. They've been in that house for 50, 60 years. They've been drinking out of that lead service line. They're okay with it. So sometimes it's sort of like pulling teeth to get the lines changed out.
And that was kind of where my question was with those 65 that were upgraded. Is it the difference between those, the other 60 homes that they don't want it changed, or is it just we haven't?
We have a list that we're actively going to work on changing out in this fall.
Okay.
So we contract with D'Angelo Brothers to change out the lines, and what works best for them is to have a list of 4 to 5 or more at a time, because they can knock out 4 a day. So we have a few right now. We're going to change out in the fall, at least 12 from that 65. But the other ones we've asked the last few years, and some of them don't want them changed. You kind of wait for change of owner to do that.
And last question, is there a cost to residents when their lines are upgraded?
No,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Councilman Jolly.
Thank you, sir. Just because we're kind of running through the agenda here, I have a question that I'm just curious. I'm not sure if Ms. Caters would be the more appropriate person here or not. Maybe you can answer this. When you say that you're testing them to determine if there are lead lines, what is the process of doing that? Like, what is the operational task that leads you to know?
On-site verification. So you get inside the home, you look at the material of the pipe. For the 3-point inspection, there's 3 points. So you have your shutoff valve outside. Everyone knows it's called a curb stop. So you hydro excavate on either side of that. You expose 18 inches of the service line on either side of the shutoff valve. And you see if it's copper, lead, or galvanized, and go from there. You go inside the home, the same thing. You look at the pipe coming up through the floor, through the wall, and physically look at the material of the pipe.
Okay, so generally speaking, was there a year when people started using copper as opposed to lead? I'm just out of curiosity for awareness of people at home, so they could maybe.
So the ban went into effect in 1986, where lead was no longer allowed to be used in homes.
Okay.
So there's really no rhyme or reason. Again, Dearborn, I grew up in Dearborn, a house in 1921 had a copper line. Houses next door had lead lines. Okay. So it probably comes back down to the builder. Maybe you paid more, maybe you paid less to get that. That's the whole point of doing this exercise, to try to get a rhyme or reason of what's in the ground.
And how deep are the lines?
4 to 5 feet.
Okay, thank you. That's informative.
Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned the contractor that will be doing that work. Will that be D'Angelo Brothers?
For this project right here, we're paired up with OHM Advisors and Duke's UIS. We used Duke's for the first 381 inspections. When that project was completed, it was way under contract. There was a lot of high contingencies figured in. That's why we're not here asking to expand their contract, because there's enough money left.
Okay, so they'll be doing the physical work itself.
They'll be doing the exterior hydro excavation work. OHM will do the interior inspections.
Great, great. And when we do replace those lines, we replace them with what kind of material nowadays?
Copper.
Copper, okay. And there's no issues with copper, that's the standard now?
Correct.
Great, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Do we have an approving on this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You good?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good.
Anything else from council? I just would like to say, just to chime in, that this work is so important, and it's appreciated. I know there's grants, and I know it's required, but just your synopsis of everything, it shows how in-depth that you are, and we're glad to have you making sure we're doing this, and especially identifying. And I'm sure CityWorks helps and all that jazz, but no, this is a big deal. That it's sometimes obviously not fun. I always laugh when people talk about changing out sewer lines. I always say, get the inspection done, because that $100 can turn into $5,000 quick, and it's
Correct.
not a fancy thing, but these are important. So thank you for all the work you're doing.
You're welcome. We definitely take great pride in identifying these and getting them on the list to get them changed out. Our staff works very hard to identify them, take great records, take photos and things like that, and get them on the list, the notification process and all that. So we don't take this program lightly by any means.
Mr. Failer, let us know if you need anything from council, but keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Anything from the audience on this matter? Seeing none, right now we have an approving on consent, and you did well.
Thank you.
Are you doing the next one?
Yeah, I will be.
All right, that one's always my favorite one. All right, so we're going to move on to item number 5, which was a request to waive the formal bidding process and award of contract. This comes to us from the Department of Public Works for the biannual fat, oil, and grease, the fog inspections from budgeted funds. Take it away.
All right, so currently we're under contract with Eganics for, we treat 49 manholes in the sewer system with their grease pucks to help, just me, to help with the grease in the sewers, to help break down the grease in the sewers so we don't have grease backups in sewers. So there's 49 manholes we treat. It's very successful in having to not clean those sewers as much and inspect them as much. We've been working with Eganics to enhance this program and take it to the next level. Now we're looking into expanding the program to an inspection program to start inspecting our 280 restaurants we have here in the city of Livonia. We're looking to inspect them on a biannual basis, so 140 a year, and conduct samples, get inside, look at their cleanouts or their grease traps, see if they have them, take samples, see if they're in compliance with their ordinance. Eganics will have the initial meetings with the business owners to educate them, answer any questions. They'll do the collecting of samples. They'll follow up with the business if they're not in compliance, perform additional sampling, and let them know what is needed. This will be housed on an integrated dashboard, so I can get on a dashboard, whoever has access to GIS, look at the restaurant we're looking at, is their dishwasher going to the grease trap? Are their toilets bypassed it? Is the kitchen sink going to the grease trap? Is their grease trap working, functioning properly? When do they clean their grease trap? How often is it treated? And then also we'll have all their samples on there. So the department is looking for council to approve a 2-year contract with Eganics to perform annual inspections of all restaurants and food processing facilities at a cost of $148,000 a year, with the option to extend the contract up to 3 times at a 2-year interval with not more than 3% each increase per extension. All funding will come from the budgeting funds in the Water and Sewer Department.
Thank you. Councilman Morgan.
Yes, I'd like to offer an approving on consent. This seems like we've been doing this for many years now. So.
Yeah. Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Farrell, so you'd say spending this money would help us actually save money in the long term because it will help identify potential issues and fix them before they cause major backups and cause more disruption?
Absolutely.
Okay, and is it common for cities to have a fog program, or are we one of the first cities to do that, or how does that work?
We're one of the first ones. We're pretty proud of this program. A lot of other cities are coming knocking on our door. We've presented about this program, showed some of the stuff we've already created, and a lot of cities are getting on board saying, hey, we wish we had something like this.
And are you physically, you're the team, the people we're hiring, are they physically going in to open up grease traps, or can you kind of give us an idea how this inspection works?
So they get inside, they get their hands dirty. They'll get in there, they'll take the covers off, they'll take the grease traps off. I've performed a few inspections with them. You'd be surprised, even an ice cream place would have an issue. Went to an ice cream place, took the lid off, and the owners didn't even know, hey, this thing's full of grease that hasn't been cleaned. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they get in there, they get their hands dirty, and they quote unquote tear the system apart, put it back together, and give them the best management practices needs.
And how many restaurants did you say you'd be inspecting?
So we have 280 licensed restaurants at this time. We're looking to do it biannually, so 140 a year.
Okay. And if they don't abide by our standards, what is the enforcement mechanisms to make sure that
we do have an ordinance in place that we can follow.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Well, we have an approving on consent. Do we have anything further from council?
Never heard of that.
Seeing none, anything from the audience? Seeing none? You got 2 approvings on consent. You did good.
Appreciate it.
Come hang out with us more. No, you did a great job to explain that, honestly. So,
Mr. Chair, I do have a question.
Councilman Toy.
I'm noticing, if I may, it's not off a subject, but it's on the subject. We are getting a lot of gas stations that are turning into little mini restaurants with hamburgers and
Yeah.
this, that, and the other thing. Are we looking at those at all? Those are, I mean,
Yeah,
they're
this is a-
businesses.
Yeah, not to interrupt. So yeah, that's all part of this program. So part of
Okay.
the pilot program that we started with this program here, we found out people are having pop-up kitchens. Someone will come for a weekend and do
Yeah.
fried chicken in the middle of a restaurant that you wouldn't even know.
Yes.
We even found where a food truck stand was at, people were discharging, into a storm line. So there's definitely educational work coming out of this and more to come, and hopefully work with the organics to clean a lot of this up for us.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Chair.
I'm sure you have a lot of happy people sometimes. And no, honestly, the work you're doing is imperative, and the health and safety to our city. And I'm sure you have to deal with a lot of stress at times, but keep up the good work.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, so we are going to move on to item number 6, which is a request to accept the stormwater facilities maintenance agreement. This comes to us from the engineering division, from Aristio Construction, in conjunction with the construction of a storm drain system that provide adequate drainage for the property located at 12822 Stark Road. Mr. Zelinsik.
Thank you, Council President, City Council members. As you know, Aristio put a beautiful building on Stark Road. I think it was completed late last fall. Again, we're getting the as-built drawings and then a bit of housekeeping, looking for City Council approval for the stormwater agreement, so that way it can be sent down to Wayne County for recording in perpetuity. And again, they also front Farmington Road at 12811 Farmington Road. So now we have Aristio on both sides of the street, Farmington and Stark. So they're a beautiful building down there, so hopefully people can enjoy it. And again, they do a lot of stuff worldwide, and having them in our backyard is very, again, beneficial.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Zelinsik. Councilwoman Toy.
Thank you. Mr. Zelinsik said it well. Ristio Joe's been a great contributor to our city and just a good citizen, and that building he put over there in Stark is just outstanding. Kudos to them, and just an intricate part of this community, and he deserves all the best, and so I'll offer an approving on consent if council doesn't have a problem.
Council, we have an approving on consent. Any further discussion? Seeing none, any discussion from the audience? Seeing none, we are going to move on to item number 7, which is a request to approve the establishment of an improvement bonds. Comes to us from the engineering division to ensure the installation of public improvements on Sunset View Site condominium located on the west side of Sunset Avenue. Mr. Zelinsik.
As you all know, we have to take bonds in case developer, unfortunately, something happens, or economy like in 2008 goes awry. So again, this is an effort to make sure that some money is held back in case some parts of the project are not finished, whether it's the storm, water, sewer, or roads. So again, this is typically our protocol, looking for your improvements on the bonds that were described. In addition, once the development is completed, we'll have trees installed, street lighting, and upon completion, we'll come back to you to have the appropriate funds that were bonds refundable back to the developer for this project itself. So
Thank you.
other than that, that's pretty well straightforward, and you guys have done this numerous times for us in the past.
Thank you, Mr. Zelinsik. Councilman Morgan.
Yes, I'll offer an approving on consent.
We have an approving on consent. Council, any other further discussion? Seeing none, anything from the audience? You guys got anything? Seeing none, we will close that item. Council, any parting words? Councilman Toy, you got
Happy
something?
4th of July.
There we go. We're going to end it on that. Good night, Livonia. Whatever you want. Pick something fun,